Testing. Good morning, everyone, and thank you for coming to today's funeral. Before the service begins, Reverend Takata will be presenting the Homyo, or the Buddhist name, for Mrs. Ikkanda.
Presentation of Homyo, Buddhist name, Dharma name Shaku Shinkai, is hereby presented to Mrs. Fumiko Ikkanda, who returned to the Amida Spirit on March 6, 2025, at the age of 98. お仏本願力本名欲望上、開始と四国自治不退転 The power of the Buddha's primal vow is such that those who hear in the name of the Buddha and aspiring for birth all reach the Amida Spirit, and their attainment of non-retrogression comes about of itself. Namo Kie Butsu, Namo Kie Ho, Namo Kie So, Namo. 釈迦如来入道場三下楽無常寺一方如来入道場三下楽。We have reverently come before Amida Buddha's immeasurable and boundless wisdom and compassion. We have gathered here today at the West Los Angeles Buddhist Temple to observe the funeral service for Mrs. Fumiko Ikkanda, who passed away on March 6, 2025, at the age of 98. The end of life is inevitable for all who are born in this life. We may recognize the truth of the Buddha's teaching that all things in this world are impermanent, and yet, as we grieve the parting of our dear loved one, we find it difficult to accept this truth in our minds. The Buddha of great compassion established the primal vow to lead all sentient beings to the realm of nirvana upon their departure from this life and bring about their attainment of the highest enlightenment. Because of this primal vow, Mrs. Ikkanda has now become an enlightened one who compassionately embraces us and guides us on a journey to liberation from the world of suffering. Today we are here to remember Mrs. Fumiko Ikkanda and mourn her passing. May our remembrance of Mrs. Fumiko Ikkanda lead us to a grateful appreciation of what we have received from her. Also, may this service be a precious opportunity to encounter the perfect guidance of the Buddha. I, Shak Koho, a resident minister of the West Los Angeles Buddhist Temple, humbly recite the name of the Buddha. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo. Shōjin 症状後、自身信用眼に、上等学書大涅槃、必死滅度願成就、如来書、意向出世、唯説弥陀本願会、五辱悪事群上会、往生如来如実言、納発一年期愛心、普段本の特涅槃、凡上逆法再永入、如種子入会一味、摂取信仰上昇後、意の水波無明暗、頓内心の死運無、上不真日信人天、非尿日光不運無、運無しげ妙無暗、真剣兄弟狂気、即応超絶語悪種、一切伝幕本部に、問心如来具霊願、仏言古代証下者、霊人妙雲なりけ、弥陀仏本願念無、邪見教満なく修上、信行十字人に南、中止南昔、陰の祭典師論へ、中華自治騎士こそ、現代諸公聖書意、妙如来本で起き、釈迦如来両がせ、一種五妙難天に、流十大自主とせ、質の大波無権、先列大乗無情報、召喚意義小安楽、異難行六六、信行異行指導楽、億年弥陀仏本願、次年即時入筆上、唯の上昇如来語、応報大具霊音、天人菩薩道論説、奇妙無下光如来、永衆たら献身に、法戦王朝大誓願、こういう本願力栄光、一道群上昇一心、入苦毒大崩壊、筆逆入大へ収集、特使連へ同世界、信用保証人、有本の人間人類、入生寺恩寺恩へ、本師鈍乱両天使、上古来消防殺来、 三道ルシ十上教本女専用気楽法天人菩薩論中下報道因果見世願猫ゆたり少女心意心人枠伝本部新人法承知承持即涅槃一子無量光明道小修上回復系納者結晶道難所唯名浄土活入万年利力変言種円満特合感染症三不三神経音語道末法滅道品一生道悪地具で思案如外称名化天道独名仏性意公愛上三陽逆悪公明名号権因年介入本願第一回行者少女金剛心狂気一年総合偉大と逆三人即生発症死上楽原神公開一大教返帰安養観一切洗脳終身反戦人法華二道小弁流国十悪人唯勝負火薬大摂取中煩悩証言水不見大無見上昇が本資源空明仏教連民連幕本部に新宗教商工編集戦略本願具悪性生じ輪蓮へ決知義上意生死即入弱上無意楽必知信心の入仏教大自修士と上際無変極辱悪同族自主愚道心唯化死死高尊説ナマ Nammandats, 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 nammandats. Good morning, everyone. We gathered here this morning to pay our respect to the late Mrs. Fumiko Ikkanda. And she gave us this precious opportunity for us to reflect on her life and how it has touched us, and to listen to the Buddha's teaching. So I'd like to share the Buddha Dharma with you. Life begins with a single breath. The moment we are born, we begin the lifelong process of inhaling and exhaling that continue until the moment we die. So one day we'll stop to breathe like Mrs. Fumiko Ikkanda. Renya Shonin, the eighth spiritual leader of our Honganji tradition, wrote a letter on the white ashes about 500 years ago. The letter powerfully expresses the transient nature of our lives and urged us to take each opportunity to listen to the Buddha's teaching. As Renya Shonin said in his letter, whether I go before others or others go before me, whether it be today or tomorrow, who is to know? Thus we do not know when our lives end. Mrs. Fumiko Ikkanda gave us the opportunity to realize this truth and reality through her life. Buddhism starts with the fact that life is full of suffering. Once we are born, we experience many sufferings. We have to separate from our loved ones. We have to meet someone or some situation we don't like. We cannot obtain what we want to. Mental and physical limitations, and so forth. Once we are born, we must experience many sufferings. And I think the most traumatic experience is separation from our loved one. It is said that Shakyamuni Buddha, founder of Buddhism, passed away about 3,000 years ago at the age of 80. As the Buddha lay down, his disciples gathered around him, knowing that the Buddha's end was near. Then the Buddha said to his disciples, "My disciples, my end is approaching. Our parting is near, but do not lament. Life is ever changing. No one can escape the dissolution of the body. This I am now to show by my own death. My disciples, my last moment has come, but do not forget, death is only the passing of the physical body. The body was born from parents and was nourished by food, just as inevitable as sickness and death. But the true Buddha is not a human body. It is enlightenment. A human body must die, but the wisdom of enlightenment will exist forever in the truth of the Dharma and the practice of the Dharma." The Buddha also said in his sutra, "One comes and gone alone, is born alone, and die alone." So none of us have chosen on our own to live this human life. Also, none of us can determine the end of this life. The Buddha encouraged us to depend on and listen to his teaching, which reflects and shows the reality of ourselves. Everything in this world is constantly changing, including our life and death. but the Buddha's teaching is the unchanging and the everlasting universal truth. Mrs. Ikkanda gave us the opportunity to realize this fundamental principle of Buddhism. Before the funeral, I presented Homyo, Buddhist name, Shaku Shinkai, to Mrs. Fumiko Ikkanda. Shaku Shinkai, Shaku was taken from the name of Shakyamuni Buddha, founder of Buddhism. So Shaku is now her last name. It means she now belongs to Shaka family, Buddha's family. In other words, she became a Buddha. Shaku Shinkai, Shin means morning or dawn, and Kai means ocean. So please imagine the sun rising from the ocean in the early morning. As the sun rises, the surroundings gradually become brighter, and the sunlight illuminates everything. So Shaku Shinkai means Mrs. Fumiko Ikkanda became a Buddha who illuminates all beings who are suffering in this defiled land, and with her infinite light of wisdom and compassion. As we can see from her Buddhist name, Shaku Shinkai, it is a fact that Mrs. Ikkanda, as a Buddha of infinite wisdom and compassion, continues to influence and affect our lives. Although she lost her physical form, she is still with us as a part of dynamic oneness that we can always appreciate and experience her wisdom and compassion in our daily lives in many ways. In Buddhism, death is not the end of life, but the natural condition and process of life. Death is a reality that is beyond our control or self-calculation. This provides an opportunity for us to reflect and appreciate this life that has already been encompassed by Amida Buddha. Mrs. Fumiko Ikkanda, as a Buddha, is providing this grateful opportunity for us to reflect upon our own death and dying and discover the meaning of this life. So let us all express our gratitude to the Buddha and Mrs. Fumiko Ikkanda for giving us this precious opportunity to reflect upon ourselves on the teaching of the Buddha. Thank you for listening. I now would like to read the letter written by Renyo Shoni. So would you please put your hand together in gassho? When I deeply contemplate the transient nature of human existence, I realize that from beginning to end, life is impermanent, like an illusion. We have not yet heard of anyone who lived 10,000 years. How fleeting is a lifetime. Who in this world today can maintain a human form for even 100 years? There is no knowing whether I will die first or others, whether death will occur today or tomorrow. We depart one after another more quickly than the dewdrops on the roots or the tips of the blades of grasses. So it is said. Hence we may have radiant faces in the morning, but by evening we may turn into white ashes. Once the winds of impermanence have blown, our eyes are instantly closed, and our breath stops forever. Then our radiant face changes its color, and the attractive countenance like peach and plum blossom is lost. Family and relatives will gather, but all to no avail. Since there is nothing else that can be done, they carry the deceased out to the fields, and then what is left after the body has been cremated and turned into midnight smoke is just white ashes. Words fail to describe the sadness of it all. Thus the nature of human existence is such that death comes to young and old alike without discrimination. So we should all quickly take on heart the matter of the great importance of the afterlife, entrust ourselves deeply to Amida Buddha, and recite the names humbly and respectfully. Thank you. Namandats, 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 namandats.
Thank you, Reverend Takata, for your Dharma message this morning. So once again, good morning, everyone, and thank you for being here today as we gather to honor and remember the life of Mrs. Fumiko Ikkanda. And on behalf of the family, I would like to express heartfelt gratitude for your presence and support during this difficult time. Now we will continue the memorial service with a look at Mrs. Ikkanda's personal history. So first, I would like to call upon Mrs. Emmy Ikkanda.
Hello. Fumiko Tamada Ikkanda was born January 1st, 1927 in Waikane, Oahu, to Risuke Tamada and Te Kobaikawa. She lived with her parents and siblings, Tatsuo, Toshio, Bob, Ted, Suzuko, and Ernie. In 1933, the family moved to Kabe neighborhood of Hiroshima, Japan, where they welcomed their youngest brothers, Takanori and Yoshinori. Her father built the house that they lived in, and it still stands today. In 1949, she left Japan for America to marry Roy Mitsugi Ikkanda. After they were married, they settled down in the Sawtown neighborhood in Los Angeles. In 1950, their first son, Stephen Satoru, was born. 2 years later, Vance Kiyoshi joined the family. In 1957, they welcomed their daughter, Karen Emmy. After her children were born, Grandma attended night school and later adult school to improve her English. She also wanted to learn how to cook American food. Her kids remember eating her homemade lemon meringue pie and apple pie, treats that her sister-in-law Tomo taught her how to make. To help with household expenses, Grandma ironed clothes for customers who brought them to her house. She later learned how to sew and worked as a seamstress for Caparati Clothing, making costumes for actresses like Agent 99 on the 1965 television show Get Smart. When the sewing company went out of business, she took classes to learn how to solder parts for electronics. She studied hard and passed a test, and then was hired at the space program for Teledyne. On her time off, she would sew clothes for the family. In everything she did, she was determined to succeed and do her best.
Thank you very much, Emmy. I'm sorry? Oh, I'm sorry, Lisa. So, sorry. Now I would like to introduce Allison Tawa.
So she supported her children in many ways. She made them lunch, stayed up late at night while they were studying to keep them company, and agreed to let Karen have a dog so she wouldn't be alone when she came home from school. When her children were grown, they each got married and started their own families. Vance married Reiko Hamada on March 1978, Karen married Gary Taka on August 1983, and Steve married Kiku Tanaka on January 1984. On November 1984, Grandma's first grandchild, Emmy Kimberly, was born to Steve and Kiku, who then welcomed Brian Aki on September 1987. Vance and Reiko had son Michael Tsuyoshi on February 1986 and Lisa Kiyomi in October 1987. Allison Fumiya was born to Gary and Karen on July 1988, and 2 years later they had son John Mitsugi on June 1990. Grandma loved being a grandma to her 6 noisy grandkids. Every holiday was filled with laughter and joyful squeals while the kids played hide and seek, made lemonade from her lemon tree, and ran around her backyard.
Thank you, Allison. Now it's Lisa Ikkanda.
Grandma spent many years celebrating birthdays, holidays, graduations, Girl Scout events, basketball games, and weddings. Every New Year's Day, the extended family would come to her house to celebrate both her birthday and the new year. Even though it was her birthday, she would cook all the oshigatsu food for the family, along with her birthday cake. Her famous jello cake and onigiris were staples at every family gathering. In 1999, Grandma and Grandpa planned to celebrate their 50th wedding anniversary in Hawaii. They wanted to take all their children and grandchildren along as well. So everyone flew over and packed into rental vans and took in the sights together. One memorable moment came at a luau when the hosts asked guests who were celebrating a wedding anniversary to stand up for some applause. Grandma and Grandpa were the couple celebrating the biggest anniversary, and when they stood up and kissed, everyone cheered. Grandma was able to enjoy the arrival of the next generation, becoming a hibachan, welcoming 6 great-grandchildren: Brooke, age 11, Josephine, age 8, Kina, age 7, Kay, age 4, Cam, age 2, and Kenzie, 10 weeks. She lived a long life surrounded by her loving, growing family.
Thank you very much for her personal history. Now I would like to invite Christine Fukunaga to come up and share a few words of remembrance.
I'm here on behalf of my mom, Auntie's younger sister, Suzuko. First, we want to express our deepest sympathies to Steve, Vance, Karen, and their families. I know you will miss her, but I hope that your pain is eased by loving memories that you made together. I have been asked to talk about my mom's early memories of Auntie. Just to put it into context, my mom was only about 3 when she moved back to Japan from Hawaii. Shortly after they moved back, they lost their mom, Ote Okasan. It was a difficult time. Japan had been involved in the Manchuria conflict a few years earlier, entered into a war with Russia in 1937, and World War II in 1941. Their childhood was very challenging, and they endured many hardships. After the family moved back from Hawaii, Mom remembers Auntie having to wash dishes as a little girl with hot water. However, after their Michie Okasan came, there were times of happiness. Mom remembers going to the seaside with the whole family, playing in the sand and digging for clams. Michie Okasan made bento of sushi and tamagoyaki. In the springtime, the family would go to the mountain and picnic, and while enjoying hanami of beautiful cherry blossoms and wisterias. In the summertime, Mom, her brothers, and sister would go to the river, which was across the street, through a field, and down the hill. They would swim in the shallow part of the river. I can't imagine Auntie and Mom swimming, but Mom says they dog paddled. Auntie and Mom would also jump rope and play hide and seek with their brothers. They would hide behind bushes and trees and even under the house. If they made too much noise, their dad would shout, "Go play somewhere else." I recently read the memories from the grandkids and the great-grandkids, and many of you wrote about playing hide and seek. Imagine 90 years ago, your grandma, your great-grandma played the same game. You have that in common with her. One of Mom's favorite memories was a time she and Auntie went up to the mountain to pick matsutake mushrooms. They were going to the Tamada Mountain. They had to walk past a field and a small hill behind their house. Their mountain was higher up. That day, as they were coming up on their mountain, they could see something glittering in the sunlight. As they came up to the top, it was lots and lots of matsutake mushrooms opening up. The small baskets that they brought were not big enough to carry all the mushrooms, so they took off their slips and tied it into a sack, and they excitedly picked the mushrooms and brought it back to Michie Okasan. She used the mushrooms to make matsutake gohan and other gochiso. Another time after the war, Mom remembers going to Kobe on a train with Auntie and Uncle Ernie. They took this long train ride to get their citizenship papers. By the time they came back to Hiroshima, it was nighttime. Mom remembers that she, Auntie, and Uncle went to the udon stand and had the best udon ever. It's funny how fond memories has a lot to do with food. My sister Linda and I also have many fond memories of Auntie. We walked to their house on Federal Avenue and played with our cousins. Auntie always had refreshments. We went to Japan for 3 months with Auntie and Karen. We went camping together at Cabrillo Beach, and many, many Thanksgivings together with the Tamada clan, and sitting with Auntie and family at the Venice and West LA Obons. So many wonderful memories. Mom would like to thank Auntie for being such a wonderful big sister. Thank you for your bravery, generosity, and for caring. Auntie was courageous to come to America only age 22, taking a 2-week journey by boat alone and not having any family here. I'm sure she made it easier for her brothers and sisters to come to America. She and Uncle Roy generously hosted relatives in their home as they made their lives here and in Japan. Auntie was caring, always celebrating Mom's birthday with food and flowers. When I think about it, Mom and Auntie lived less than a mile away from each other most of their lives. I think there was comfort in having the sisters close by. They would talk on the phone each week, but as their hearings got worse, their conversations became interesting. Mom is going to miss Auntie very much. However, she is comforted in knowing that Auntie lived a very happy and full life. We will miss you, Auntie. Thank you for being such a caring auntie and a wonderful big sister to our mom. We will take good care of her, so don't worry. In closing, Auntie has shared her strength, her values, and love of family throughout her life. As you continue family traditions, such as your kids playing hide and seek, jankenpo, have family gatherings and celebrations, enjoy delicious food, maybe her Jell-O cake, hopefully you are comforted in knowing that it is part of her lasting legacy. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Christine, for your words of remembrance. Now I would like to invite Galen Kobayashi to come forward and offer words of condolence from the temple.
Good morning. On behalf of West Los Angeles Buddhist Temple and the Sangha, I would like to extend my deepest sympathies to the Ikkanda family for the loss of your mother, sister, grandmother, and great-grandmother, Mrs. Fumiko Ikkanda. The Ikkanda family have been longtime members of our temple, and I would like to express my gratitude for the many years of support of West Los Angeles Buddhist Temple. I personally had the pleasure of delivering care packages to her about every other month for the last 4 years. She was always very friendly and would speak very kindly of the temple. I will always remember her waving as I drove away. Mrs. Ikkanda will be deeply missed by all our Sangha who have had the pleasure of conversing with her throughout the years. Again, I wish to extend our deepest and heartfelt condolences to the Ikkanda family, and may looking back at the memories help comfort you now and into tomorrow. Thank you.
Thank you, Galen. Now would Gary Taka please come forward for words of appreciation?
I'm doing words of appreciation, so I'm going to say a few words about what I appreciated about Mom. She was actually my mother-in-law, and when I was growing up, mother-in-laws, they have this reputation as being bossy and nosy and hard to get along with. But Mom and I, we got along great. We had a good old time together. I'm pretty sure she liked me better than Karen. Mom, and she was sharp. I mean, even into her 90s, she knew everybody's birthday. It was once we were in the car, my family and Mom, and my son John had just had a birthday, and she remembered, and she wished him a happy birthday, and then she asked him how old he was, and he told her that she was 29. And then she looked at him, and she goes, John, you and I are opposite. And we're looking at each other like, what's she talking about? And then she said, you're 29, I'm 92. Mom was sharp, and she was funny. She really enjoyed a good laugh. See me afterwards, I have this really funny story she told me. I'll tell you later. But what I'm up here really for is to say that on this day, this special day, when we gather together to celebrate Mom's life and mourn her passing, our family wants to be sure to let you know that we deeply appreciate you taking the time to come here, to share these memories, to support us, and just to be here with us. And and thank you for helping us get through this whole ordeal. The phone calls, for you visited, and the food you brought, all of that really made a big difference. We're going to carry a lot of really nice memories away from this because of what you've done. Oh, and one more thing. When Mom came here from Japan, she left behind everything and everybody she knew. She had to start her life entirely over again. And along the way, each one of you, from the great-grandkids all the way up to Auntie Suzuko, each one of you helped fill in those missing pieces and make her life whole. And I know she really appreciated all of you and everything that you did for her. And so does our family. So we'd like to invite you to stay for lunch over in the social hall after service. We have bentos like you've never had bentos. So if you have to leave, be sure you pick one up before you go. We're going to try and get out by 1 so that you have plenty of time to get to the burial by 2. All right, thank you, and hope to see you over there.
Thank you, Gary. That was the best words of appreciation I've ever heard. So now the family has created a video tribute that they would like to share with you. That was a wonderful tribute. So now, as we come to a close of today's funeral, we honor Mrs. Ikkanda's journey and express our deep gratitude for the time all of you shared with her. Her kindness, love, and memories will continue to touch each of you. So with that, thank you all for coming.